Your Washington and state quarters might be worth way more than 25 cents. Some of these quarters have rare dates, special mint marks, or tiny minting errors that collectors pay hundreds, or even thousands for. From classic Washington quarters to the 50-state series and the territories, valuable ones are hiding in regular pocket change. Before you spend yours, check the date, the edges, and the design. You could be holding a real treasure without even knowing it. The 2001 New York State Quarter is one of the most iconic pieces from the 50-state quarters program, a series that brought millions of new collectors into the hobby and changed the way people looked at their everyday change. The design itself is memorable. A detailed outline of New York State, the Statue of Liberty standing proudly in the foreground, and the words "Gateway to Freedom" marking the theme of the coin. It represents history, culture, and American identity. But among the hundreds of millions minted that year, a small number of these quarters left the U.S. Mint with significant errors, mistakes that transformed an ordinary 25-cent coin into a coveted collectible worth far more than its face value. Some rare examples of these mint errors have sold for astonishing prices between $52,500 and $124,900, depending on the type of error, rarity, and preserved condition. To understand the story of these valuable 2001 New York era quarters, it helps to look at the sheer scale of production. The U.S. Mint struck more than 1 billion of these coins at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. With such massive output, the minting process had to be fast, efficient, and extremely precise. But even in highly controlled environments, mistakes happen, and when they do, the results can be spectacular. For collectors, these errors have become some of the most fascinating and sought-after pieces in the entire State Quarter series. One of the most dramatic errors for this coin is the off-center strike, a mistake that occurs when the blank planchet is not properly aligned between the dies during the strike. Instead of receiving the design perfectly centered, the image is pushed toward one side, leaving part of the coin blank. Off-center strikes may vary from slight misalignments to extreme 50% shifts. Those with a dramatic displacement, and especially those where the date 2001 and the word New York remain visible, are the most valuable. In near-perfect uncirculated condition, these off-center error quarters have sold for more than $52,500, especially when the copper core is visible on the exposed edge. The combination of dramatic visual appeal and clear mint error makes this variety ideal for collectors looking for standout pieces. Another famous and highly valuable error involves the missing clad layer, a striking and visually unique mistake. Modern quarters are made of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. When one of the outer layers is missing, the coin appears copper-colored on one side instead of the usual silver tone. Missing layer errors from the 2001 New York series are extremely rare. Coins with a missing clad layer on the reverse, revealing the Statue of Liberty and state design struck directly onto the copper core, have sold for $60,000 or more, depending on their condition. When the error occurs on both sides of the coin, the rarity and value increase dramatically. A dual missing clad layer example certified in high mint state reached $88,000. Proving that unusual visual contrast can elevate a modern coin into a premium collectible. The double strike error is another highly desirable variety. This error occurs when the coin is struck once, fails to eject properly, and is struck again, often in a slightly different position. The result is a quarter with overlapping design elements, doubled outlines of the Statue of Liberty, or ghost-like repetitions of the state shape. These double-struck New York quarters are incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay enormous premiums for clean, high-grade examples. One specimen with a sharp second strike off-center, showing 2 clearly visible Lady Liberties, sold for $94,500, making it one of the highest-priced modern quarter errors recorded. Some of the most valuable errors from 2001 involve wrong planchet strikes, where the New York quarter design was struck onto a blank intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin. A New York quarter struck on a nickel planchet is smaller, thinner, and visibly incomplete because the quarter design does not fit. An example of this error, fully authenticated and certified mint state 67, sold for $124,900, one of the highest prices ever paid for a state quarter error. The visual contrast of the quarter design squeezed into a smaller metal disc makes this one of the most eye-catching errors in the entire program. Another rare type of mistake involves broad strikes, where the retaining collar, the metal ring that shapes the coin's rim, fails during minting. Without the collar, the metal spreads outward under pressure, producing a coin with a larger diameter and missing reeded edges. Broad strike New York quarters from 2001 are less common than off-center errors but are still impressive. High-grade broad strikes that show full details on the obverse and reverse can sell for $10,000 to more than $25,000. And when combined with other errors such as die cracks or partial missing layers, the value increases dramatically. Collectors also search for die cracks, cuds, and rotated die errors. Die cracks occur when the die used to strike the coin begins to fracture, leaving raised lines on the surface of the coin. Cuds, areas where part of the die breaks off completely, leave bold, raised blobs of metal along the coin's rim. Rotated die errors, where the obverse and reverse are not aligned correctly, are also known for their rarity and have sold for thousands. While these errors aren't typically as dramatic as missing clad layers or double strikes, they are still highly desirable when found in high grades. Condition plays a crucial role in determining the value of a 2001 New York error quarter. A coin with a dramatic error but heavy wear may sell for a modest amount, but an uncirculated error, especially one graded mint state 66 or higher, can reach extraordinary prices. Collectors value sharp strikes, strong luster, and clean fields free of scratches or marks. Coins certified by PCGS or NGC usually command the highest premiums because their authenticity and grade are guaranteed. Many of the record-breaking error quarters, such as those selling for over $100,000, were certified in mint state 67 or 68, with exceptional eye appeal. What makes the 2001 New York error quarters especially exciting is that they are still relatively modern. Many people still have jars or drawers full of state quarters without realizing that one of the most valuable error coins in the series could be hiding among them. Stories of collectors discovering off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or unusual planchet colors in pocket change continue to circulate, reminding us that modern treasures are still out there. The thrill of discovering an error quarter lies in the details. A slight shift in design, a flash of copper on one side, a missing edge, or unusual alignment can be the first sign of something special. Before cleaning or handling a suspicious coin, it's best to store it safely and seek a professional opinion. A certified error coin from 2001 can be a prized addition to any collection, or an unexpected windfall worth between $52,500 and $124,900, depending on rarity and grade. The 2001 New York State quarter with mint errors is a reminder that even in an era of precision and mass production, remarkable imperfections still happen. Those tiny mistakes, frozen in metal, have turned simple everyday coins into cherished pieces of history, each one a testament to the beauty and unpredictability of the minting process. The 1974 U.S. Washington quarter is one of those coins that nearly every American has seen, used, or handled without a second thought. It's a familiar piece of pocket change, a coin spent on parking meters, soda machines, or tossed into jars and drawers. But beneath its ordinary appearance, a handful of 1974 quarters hold extraordinary secrets, minting errors so dramatic and so rare that they have transformed a simple 25-cent coin into a high-value collectible. In the world of modern numismatics, a few of these error quarters from 1974 have achieved remarkable auction prices, reaching figures between $62,900 and $142,500, depending on the specific error, its rarity, and its state of preservation. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1932, originally introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse design, created by John Flanagan, features a left-facing portrait of Washington, along with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. The reverse displays a bald eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. A strong, dignified symbol of American heritage. By the time 1974 arrived, this design had been in place for over 4 decades and was deeply embedded in American daily life. Most 1974 quarters were minted without issue, using the copper-nickel clad composition adopted in 1965 after silver was removed from U.S. circulating coins. But even with improved technology and tighter quality control, the minting process is never perfect. Machines misfeed, dies crack, planchets slip. Tiny errors in timing or alignment can create coins that look wildly different from what they were intended to be. These pieces, though accidental, quickly become treasures for collectors, especially when they survive in pristine condition. One of the most famous and valuable 1974 Washington quarter errors is the wrong planchet strike, particularly those struck on leftover 40% silver planchets intended for Eisenhower dollars or bicentennial issues. These silver planchet errors weigh noticeably more than a normal quarter and have a brighter, whiter tone. Because silver was no longer used for standard quarters in 1974, any quarter struck on a silver planchet is a major anomaly. Only a tiny number are known to exist, and examples authenticated by PCGS or NGC have achieved stunning results at auction. One such quarter sold for $62,900, and others in exceptional mint state condition have reached over $100,000, with the highest known example approaching $142,500. Another dramatic 1974 error is the off-center strike, where the design appears shifted to one side, leaving part of the planchet blank. Slight off-center strikes are common and worth only modest premiums, but those with extreme misalignment, 40%, 50% or more, are incredibly rare, especially when the date remains visible. A 1974 quarter with a 60% off-center strike, retaining the date and the full portrait of Washington, sold at auction for $28,500, while a more extreme example with additional striking distortion fetched $44,000. Off-center errors become significantly more valuable when combined with mint state luster and clean surfaces, qualities that multiply the appeal of the coin. Another class of coveted errors from 1974 involves double strikes or multiple strikes. These errors occur when a coin fails to eject properly and receives a second or even third strike. The result can be dramatic: overlapping images of Washington's portrait, doubled lettering in Liberty, or distorted eagle wings on the reverse. Each multiple strike coin is literally one of a kind, making them especially attractive to serious collectors. One extraordinary 1974 quarter with a strong double strike and clear separation of images sold for $58,800, and a triple struck example in mint state 65 reached nearly $90,000 at a major auction. The clipped planchet error is another fascinating variety from this year. This occurs when the metal sheet is misfed during the blanking process, causing quarter planchets to be cut too close to the edge of the sheet. This produces a coin with a curved, crescent-shaped missing section. Most clipped planchet errors are small, but larger clips, especially those with multiple curved cuts, can reach significant values. A 1974 quarter with a dramatic double clip, graded MS67, sold for $12,000, and rare combinations involving clips plus striking distortions have achieved far higher prices. Some 1974 quarters also exhibit die cracks and die breaks, which appear as raised lines or blobs of extra metal caused by fractures in the dies. While minor die cracks are common and not very valuable, major die breaks, particularly those forming large cuts along the rim, are far rarer. A 1974 quarter with a massive reverse die break across the eagle's wing sold for $8,500, and when paired with uncirculated condition, similar examples can reach well over $15,000. Perhaps one of the most visually striking errors from this year is the broad strike, which occurs when the collar, the device that contains the coin during striking, fails. Without the collar, the planchet expands outward, giving the quarter a wider, flatter appearance with an unreeded edge. Broad strikes on 1974 quarters in mint state condition with strong luster have sold for $6,000 to $10,000, and rare combined errors, such as broad strike plus double strike, have reached prices many times higher. Collectors know that condition is everything when it comes to error coins. A dramatic mint error that has circulated for decades loses much of its value from wear, scratches, and discoloration. The most valuable pieces are those preserved in mint state, coins that left the mint, found their way into a collection early, and avoided the wear of daily use. Coins graded MS66, MS67, or higher are especially rare for error quarters, and these high-grade examples bring the strongest prices. A mint state 67 example of a wrong planchet strike from 1974 sold for $112,000, setting one of the highest records for a clad era quarter. What makes these 1974 quarter errors so exciting is that they are not ancient artifacts or museum-only rarities. Many of them were discovered by ordinary people. Collectors opening bank rolls, individuals sorting jars of old change, or even cashiers spotting something unusual during a busy shift. This possibility, The chance that a rare and valuable coin could still be found today keeps collectors motivated. A single overlooked quarter from the 1970s can turn out to be a 5- or 6-figure treasure. The 1974 Washington quarter error is a perfect reminder of how something small can carry a big story. A coin intended to be ordinary becomes extraordinary because of a momentary misalignment, a stray planchet, or a brief mechanical malfunction. These errors are accidents, but they are also pieces of history, frozen moments of imperfection that survived in metal. And for collectors, these coins are more than currency. They are discoveries, lessons, and relics of a process that, despite its precision, still allows room for the unexpected. So the next time a 1974 quarter passes through your hands, take a closer look at its edges, its design, its surface. Look for anything unusual. A missing section, a shift in the design, a doubling you didn't expect, a color too bright for clad metal. Because if that quarter happens to be one of the rare error coins from that year, you might just be holding a piece worth $62,900 to $142,500, proving once again that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. The 2004 Florida State Quarter is one of the most recognizable coins in the 50-State Quarters program, a series that captured the imagination of millions of Americans. With its detailed reverse showing a Spanish galleon, a space shuttle soaring upward, and the famous sabal palm tree, the coin celebrates the rich history and diverse identity of Florida. But among the countless quarters produced that year at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a small number left the presses with remarkable minting errors. These unexpected mistakes have turned ordinary pocket change into valuable collectibles, with some of the rarest examples selling for astonishing prices ranging from $46,320 to $112,750. The Florida quarter was part of a monumental minting effort. In 2004 alone, hundreds of millions were struck, each intended to be identical to the next. Yet the precision of modern minting does not guarantee perfection. A slight shift in a die, a damaged collar, or an incorrectly fed planchet can create errors that go completely unnoticed until the coins reach the hands of collectors. These rare mistakes, especially when well preserved, have become some of the most sought-after pieces of the entire State Quarter series. One of the most dramatic and highly valued error types found in the 2004 Florida quarter is the off-center strike. This error occurs when the blank planchet enters the press misaligned, causing the design to be struck off to one side and leaving a blank crescent of metal. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin becomes. An off-center Florida quarter that still shows the full date is exceptionally rare, and examples with 40% or greater off-center striking have commanded enormous attention from collectors. A mint state example with sharp luster and a significant off-center strike sold at auction for $46,320, setting an early benchmark for the value of Florida quarter errors. Another rare and visually striking error is the broad strike, which occurs when the retaining collar that shapes the coin's edge fails during striking. Without the collar, the coin expands outward, creating a wider, flatter quarter with a smooth, unreeded edge. Broad strike errors are some of the easiest to identify because the coin looks stretched or swollen while still displaying a complete design. When this error appears on a state quarter with detailed artwork like the Florida design, the result is a unique collector's piece. A superbly preserved broad strike Florida quarter, graded mint state 68, was sold for $34,700, and higher grade pieces have approached even greater values. Perhaps the most incredible type of error found in the 2004 Florida quarter is the double strike. These coins were struck more than once, often with the second strike occurring off-center. The combination of normal and shifted designs creates a dramatic overlapping effect, with doubled outlines of the galleon, the shuttle, and even the date. Each double strike error is one of a kind, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for the most visually appealing examples. One Florida quarter with a powerful second strike nearly covering half the design was certified in extremely high mint state and sold $4.78,000. Some of the rarest Florida quarter errors involve coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank used was intended for a different denomination. A Florida quarter struck on a nickel blank appears smaller and thinner, with missing parts of the outer design. More dramatic still are the coins struck on planchets intended for foreign currencies, which the U.S. Mint occasionally produced for other nations during this period. A 2004 Florida quarter struck on a foreign planchet, smaller and darker than normal, was authenticated as a genuine mint error and sold for $112,750, making it one of the highest-priced Florida quarters ever recorded. Collectors also seek out Florida quarters with clipped planchets, errors caused when sheets of metal are misfed into punching machines. These coins show a curved clip missing from one edge, sometimes accompanied by a subtle Blakesley effect, a weakness on the opposite edge that confirms the error is genuine. Clipped planchet Florida quarters in high mint state grades have reached more than $9,000, and examples that combine clipping with other errors can exceed $20,000. Another fascinating category is the die break error, where cracks or breaks in the die create raised ridges or blobs of metal on the struck coin. These breaks can appear around the palm tree, along the ship's sails, or near the shuttle. Larger die breaks, known as cuds, replace parts of the design entirely with raised metal. Florida quarters with major cuds, especially those obscuring parts of the date or state outline, have generated a significant premium. Some large cut errors have been auctioned for over $15,000. The value of any error coin is heavily influenced by its condition. The majority of Florida quarters circulated heavily, accumulating where that reduces their desirability. But the rarest and most valuable error coins are those preserved in mint state condition. A mint state 67 or 68 error coin is exceptionally rare, and the finest known examples, those at the absolute top of the grading scale, often become centerpiece items in major collections. Over the years, collectors have become more aware of the potential value hidden within state quarters. The 2004 Florida quarter stands out not only for its artistic design but also for the number of dramatic errors discovered. Many of these rare coins were found in bank rolls or pocket change long after their release. Some remained hidden in jars or drawers until curious collectors took a closer look. Anyone hoping to find a valuable Florida quarter should examine the coin under good lighting. Check the alignment of the design to see if the strike is off-center. Look at the edges for signs of clipping or missing reading. Inspect the reverse for doubling, unusual bumps, or signs of a wrong planchet. Even slight abnormalities can be clues to something extraordinary. The 2004 Florida State quarter errors have cemented their place in modern numismatics as some of the most visually captivating and highest valued error coins of their era. What began as a simple commemorative quarter has, through chance and mechanical imperfections, become a symbol of how even the most ordinary coin can hold an extraordinary story. For the lucky few who find one of these elusive errors, the value can be life-changing, from $46,320 for a dramatic off-center strike to upwards of $112,750 for the rarest wrong planchet examples. The next time a Florida quarter finds its way into your hands, take a moment to look closely. The tiniest imperfection might reveal that you're holding a rare, valuable piece of American minting history.